We're getting ready to say hello, but there's still a few goodbyes left. We're going to talk about that and more on today's episode of the Geek Watch Podcast.
This is the Geek Watch Podcast with Brian Hatcher and Mandy Petrie.
Greetings, Geek Watchers, and welcome to episode 174 of the Geek Watch Podcast. I'm Brian Hatcher, and with me, as always, Geek Watch's own resident geek goddess, Mandy Petrie.
Hello, Brian.
So, to answer a question some of the Geek Watchers might have had last week, why did we not talk about any of the trailers from Brazil Comic-Con? Why did we not talk about the new Raiders of the Lost Ark, the new Indiana Jones movie trailer? Why did we not discuss the new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer? Why did we not mention any of that stuff? Well, the answer to that question is because they decided to release it exactly at the time when we were recording, so we didn't even know about it.
Okay, I didn't think of it. I was like, yeah, why didn't we?
Because we didn't know.
Because we didn't know at that time.
We were literally recording the podcast when they decided to release them, so we didn't know. So have you seen either one of them?
I've seen the Indiana Jones one, and what is the Dial of Destiny? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
I know the Spear of Destiny. What is the Dial of Destiny?
I don't know. I'm not sure what that is at all.
See, it's not like famous like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. That's something like you don't hear. Or Crystal Skulls. We even knew what Crystal Skulls were, but what's the Dial of Destiny?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with that, but they are going down the road of Indiana Jones saying, I'm too old for this, bleep.
Yeah. That's great.
So that's interesting. Of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the new trailer, obviously, if they're trying to tell us anything, it is get ready to cry, because you are going to cry all through this movie. We knew this was going to be the last of the movies. And we also knew they were going to go into Rocket's backstory, which isn't pleasant.
Oh, yes. We saw him as a little baby, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, in the cage. And we got to see his, in the comic.
Other little creatures, right?
And we got to see him hugging what in the comics was his otter girlfriend. So I guess they're bringing, maybe they're bringing her into that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was that moment in the trailer where it sounds like Rocket was talking about one last flight before we all die. I'm not sure what the context of all that is.
We Are Groot. Oh my goodness, that's
they pulling that out was not kind at all, but they did.
Yes.
So certainly we're going to have some heartbreak. They're already prepping us for it. It came out of nowhere because it's going to be May of next year before this movie is out. But I'm thinking that with the holiday special, that's going to bring the Guardians of the Galaxy forward in everyone's mind. We're all thinking about it.
Right.
And so they thought, well, why not? Let's go ahead and do that. We've gotten that. We got that trailer and just prepping us for what's to come. And we still have
Marvel's stay excited about us. We're making you completely depressed with Black Panther
and possibly Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Because I'm trying to stay away from a lot of spoilers from that and a lot of speculation, but they're saying that's going to be...
It's going to be a tearjerker as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the next few movies, this may be their weeping tour.
Seriously, yeah.
So
a weird season of woe.
Yeah, that's definitely looks like that's going to happen. So when are we going to get something happy? I guess we'll find out. But in the meantime, buy stock and tissue because you're probably going to, know. But... since we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and we're also talking about James Gunn, we got to talk about DC because there's some weird stuff going on with the DCEU. Specifically, the fact that they have announced that Wonder Woman 3 has been yanked. They're not...
Right? Yeah. Where did that come from? And
it was just like unceremoniously, we're not going to do it. And I'm thinking it's coming from a few places. Specifically, one is... we've got Flashpoint coming up, this new Flash movie, which is going to allow them to reset everything. So you can do everything. The other thing, too, and this is really sad to even talk about this, is you were thinking they might go back a little bit and maybe do some more of the Snyderverse, even though Zack Snyder's not going to be a part of it, because at the end of Black Adam when they brought, they brought Superman back. Exactly. And Henry Cavill, and he's back. And so are they going to do that? It looks like no, because Black Adam tanked.
Oh.
It did not do well at all. It just flat out tanked. So there's this discussion that there's not going to be another Superman movie. They're not going to do Black Adam. They're just going to kill that. The Wonder Woman movie is gone. They're just going to start over from scratch, basically. And they're going to allow Flashpoint to be like a reset. And everything is going to be reset at that point.
Oh, we've got Peacemaker and we've got things that are good. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to be getting a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before James Gunn was a CEO. So I think they're going to lean into it a little bit more. And it may be something they use to help develop this new world. But like I said, they're cleaning out everything. They're saying they're not going to do another Aquaman movie after the one that's out. Although there's been some talk and some rumors that we haven't seen the last of Jason Momoa because they're going to recast him as Lobo. That would be an interesting. I think he would do a great job as that character. But that may be part of why they're doing the reset, because they want to use Jason Momoa, but in a radically different kind of character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nuts. But the thing about it is, you had James Gunn talking about how they wanted to tie everything in together. They wanted the TV shows to match up with the movies, to match up with everything. Mm-hmm. They wanted it to be a cohesive unit like it is in Marvel. Mm-hmm. And I get that. I totally get it. But they're ready to do scorched earth to get there, it looks like. And that's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
But again, you've had a lot of the CW shows are getting wiped out. I'm afraid that even some of the really good shows that have worked out pretty well, like Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol.
And Titans,
and
right.
Titans.
Now, of course, they're not in the same universe as like the cinematic universe. Doom Patrol and Titans are on their own.
Right.
But they're great and they're doing well. They've each got 3 and 4 seasons going and still going strong, and people are loving them. And
yeah, especially with the fact that you have this change of ownership and HBO Max looks like it's completely going away. That's going to be absorbed by Discovery. How much of HBO Max is going to remain is the big question, but it looks like on the DC side, they're looking to just get rid of everything and start over, which I get it, but man, you're getting rid of a lot of great stuff. Mm-hmm. But that, again, that's also going to mean Shazam 2, is that going to be the end of it? That we're going to lose that, and we're not going to get Shazam and Black Adam together, or at least maybe not until an end credit scene. But again, with all the issues that they've run into with all these different universes, and the fact that Black Adam didn't do so well, and you're having the issues with Ezra Miller and having the issues with Amber Heard, just this idea that they're just going to push the reset button. I get it. I understand why they would want to do it, but man, it's a shame because there's a lot of really good stuff that's just, I'm afraid it's just going to disappear. They're just going to get rid of all of it. But I guess we'll find out what's going to happen. But,
we'll see.
Yeah. But one thing we definitely have to talk about, since we're talking about shows getting started, was this past Monday, they started filming for the new season of Doctor Who. So that's already started. Uh-huh. And our new showrunner, Russell T. Davies, has had a lot to say about what they're going to do with this new show.
Our new old guy.
The new old guy. Well, we're definitely getting 3 specials, but one thing that he said was, even though this first season with the new Doctor...
The new old Doctor.
Not the new old Doctor, the new Doctor.
Oh, okay, yes.
Ncuti Gatwa. His Doctor, that's the season they're shooting, because they've already shot the David Tennant 14th Doctor, but Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. They started filming that Monday. And one thing that they said is, although this first season is going to be shorter than normal, it's going to be, I think, just 8 episodes. Okay. But I think the 3 specials that they're going to be doing with David Tennant are going to lead into it. Even though that's going to be a short one, they're planning on doing regular length episodes. They also said no more skip years. It's not going to be, we're going to give you a season of Doctor Who. It's going to take a year or 2, and then we get another one. No.
Really?
We are getting back on the clock. We're going to be doing a season a year like we used to do.
Okay.
And we're bringing back the Christmas episodes.
Yay.
Which, Of course. Which, of course, makes me happy because, after all, I have complained for a long damn time about the fact that they got rid of the Christmas episodes. And I had some very unflattering things to say about why I thought they had done it. But we're under...
Because they ran out of lore. Wasn't that one of the complaints?
Well, that was part of it, but my complaint was the fact that the Christmas episodes are always emotional. There's always a little bit of a tear in your eye when you're watching them. And previous showrunner wasn't into that stuff. And so, because he knew he couldn't really do an emotional episode, and he sure as heck didn't really manage to pull it off during Jodie Whittaker's term as the Doctor. In fact, in many cases, and we've talked about it before, moments when it could have gotten emotional and they just backed off of it because they weren't going to go down that road. But, now we've got Russell T Davies, and he writes really beautiful episodes, and he can definitely move you to tears. So he's more than ready to do Christmas episodes, and we are getting them again. They've already said. So we are now getting back to a place where Doctor Who could be a regular show again. And the fact that now Disney Plus is going to be showing these episodes of Doctor Who, and not just showing them, but also chipping in on paying for the episodes.
Thank you, Mickey.
We're looking at a show budget per episode being 4 to 5 times bigger than they've ever had before. So we may wind up getting something in Doctor Who that we have never had before. Amazing special effects. Now, a lot of Doctor Who fans, and this was back when New Who started.
Right.
There were people that said, back in 2005, people were saying, dude, you can't do Doctor Who unless the monsters have zippers in the back of the rubber suits.
You're right. You got to have that. It's like Kirk fighting the Gorn. You got to have that classic awful sci-fi.
If you don't have cheap rubber suits and goofy special effects and this TARDIS obviously hanging from a string, it's not Doctor Who. And I never agreed with that because I always thought this Doctor Who was about great story, and great story in the old episodes was what was the reason basically why you didn't really care about the crappy special effects.
Yeah.
But good special effects will just help the story, I feel. And I think that after enough New Who has passed and you've gotten not the best special effects, but at least better than what they have been in the past.
We'll take Mickey Mouse stamped on the bottom of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
There's a hidden Mickey in all of Disney properties, so we can look for the hidden Mickey. We'll be fine.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. If they're, like I said, they're willing
and maybe
to...
we'll get a park. Maybe we'll get because we've got a Harry Potter park, we've got a Star Wars park. Maybe we'll get a Doctor Who park.
Yeah, we can get a Doctor Who park very similar to a Star Wars park.
Yeah, you have to go through the TARDIS, and then it's bigger on the inside.
Yeah, you could spend the night at a Doctor Who tell.
Yes.
I'm ready for that. I'm totally ready for that. I may
stay on a different planet every night.
Yeah, I may be just a pathetic consumer, but yes, give to me. I'm ready. I am totally ready. But
shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take all our money. But let's talk a little bit about a couple of shows that you've been watching. You told me that you've been watching Willow. You've seen 3 episodes.
Yes, only 3 episodes have come out yet.
So what do you think so far?
It's not good. It's not good, but Brian, I love it so much. Oh, I love it. I do. It's hokey. It's campy. It's everything, that you do love. My problems with it have stemmed from, I really honestly think it's from editing. I think they have cut out some scenes that we were supposed to have seen, and it's choppy. We've got characters that were really, really good characters, but they are only in there for comic relief. They're in there for a second and they're gone. And so they don't drive the story forward. They're only to make you laugh. I really feel like they could have taken them further, and there are times where, someone will go off on their own adventure for 15 seconds, and it feels like they're miles and miles away, and then in the next scene they're back with the group. Those are the kinds of things that feels really slapped together, really cut wrong, but that's really the issues with I have. The acting's great, the characters are good, the story is really what you'd come in expecting. So with the first 3 episodes, we've seen Sorsha, we've seen Willow, and we've seen flashbacks from the movie, but other than that, we've got brand new characters. Some of the Nelwyn are the same actors from, almost 30 years ago. So it's not the best, but I do love it. And I think it has potential. So after these first 3 episodes and maybe if they find their footing. But as for now, it's not the best, but it's great.
So they're at least getting started.
Yeah.
Well, it would take a lot to pierce through those geek colored glasses that you have.
Right.
So I was a little worried there for a minute because it's like, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. I'm like, it must have caused cancer in kids for you to hate it.
Yeah.
So
It's love, it's fun, it's hokey, it's campy, and it's choppy, but it's not the best, but you can still love it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you still love it, but. And you said you have watched all of Wednesday, and I'm still haven't been able to crack into that yet.
Right.
Although the memes, they are strong.
Oh yes,
So
they're beautiful and spot on, and it was very intentional the way they ended it. It's like there are 8 cliffs that we're hanging off of, and I can see why they wanted it that way, because if we did not get more seasons, there would have been outrage, because there's so much left open, and it's such good story, and it did wrap up some story that you got this kind of satisfying, yes, but there's so many more questions to answer, and it's worth it. It's a great show.
Okay. I am definitely looking forward to seeing it. Now, I am going to ask you this, and if you can tell me this without really going into spoilers, if it is going to go into spoiler territory, you can just let me know. But
Okay.
One of the complaints that I have heard about the show is that what makes the Addams Family work, at least in the opinion of the people who are saying this, is that the Addams Family are the weird ones swimming in a sea of normies. And that interaction of them thinking themselves to be the normal ones and seeing everybody else is kind of weird has been the story engine that's really kept the Addams Family. And that's what's interesting about the TV show back in the day and the movies and all of that. But that an issue with Wednesday is she's just a weird person amongst weird people. Now, she's Queen Weirdo, but everybody else is weird as well. And that, in a sense, that blunts the story a little bit, at least in the opinion of some people, because of the fact that she's just a weirdo in a sea of weirdos. She's basically having to put herself out there as the bigger weirdo. What do you think of that opinion?
I can see where they look at it that way. I'm okay with it because we have this dynamic that there are the normal people and then there are the weirdos. And the Addams Family, they're not alone. We've always seen that they've had extended family in the TV show and everything. Family comes to visit, Cousin It comes to visit, which, non-spoiler alert, we don't get Cousin It in this season. We always known that in this universe there are weirdos out there. We just haven't seen them all congregated. So now we are seeing them, and we see that dynamic between the weirdos and the normies, and they're side by side with this is the school of the weirdos, and they're in this town of normies, and the normies depend on the school because that pretty much funds their town.
They're a college town.
They're a college town. Yes, that's why I have enjoyed it. This dynamic of it, it's something. It goes against the grain of what we normally think of with the Addams Family, but I think that's fine too. With all media, with all art, changing it and making it. We've seen here in the past couple of years, we've seen Shakespeare, we've seen Ophelia, a movie from Ophelia's point of view instead of Hamlet's. There's a new one coming out. I think it's Anne Juliet, if I'm not correct, or
yeah.
Roxanne. Now we're looking at it from Roxanne's point of view. So I don't see that as harming it in any way. It just is looking at it from a different perspective, which, hey, I'm okay with.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about it, too, is that, especially with Jenna Ortega's performance as Wednesday, and you just learning more and more about this young woman, it's because it's like everything that she winds up doing in that show, she's doing it.
Yeah.
So she has to speak German in the show. She goes off and learns German to do it. She plays the cello. She does now, but she had to learn how to play the cello.
Very method. She's very method.
She's extremely method. So she just absolutely, and
very talented, very gorgeous young woman.
Yeah, and winds up choreographing this dance that has become such a meme that the original song, the Cramp song, is now topping the charts. And then there was a meme that's using another song that she's dancing to that's just part of the meme, and it's charting.
Topping the charts, yeah. What's great about that is the same reason the opening of Peacemaker is so good. It's a dance that you don't have to be a dancer to be good at and look good doing.
Yeah.
And she even talked about that. She's, I'm not a dancer, so I was putting this together and I was so self-conscious about it. And then boom, the world loves it. And anyone can do it. And it's become a big thing on TikTok doing it. It's great.
Oh, yeah. And the thing about it is, if you know anything about goth history and Susie and the Banshees, and that was one of her inspirations, was she watched videos of Susie Sue dancing, and there's a lot of her moves that are definitely in there. There's a lot of moves from, and we talked about this in the last podcast, she watched a lot of videos of goth kids in the 80s dancing in clubs. And there's even a little piece of the old Addams Family TV show where Wednesday dances, and she puts a move in there. So there was a lot of just really awesome stuff in there. So yeah, it was just...
Yeah, I have seen some people they remember the Addams Family movies with, of course, Christina Ricci, but they did not know about the 1960s TV show or the comic. And now that they've got like a whole history lesson that this goes back to the 1920s.
Yeah, it goes back to these one-panel comics in the New Yorker.
Yes.
And Charles Addams. And this pays a tribute to all the history of the Addams family, which is amazing. Again, I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching it.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to see it.
I can't wait to see it either. Now, I have been watching Rick and Morty.
Okay.
This coming week is going to be the last episode for a while.
Okay.
Again, that's what's frustrating about Rick and Morty, because it just appears out of nowhere and you're not expecting it. They throw you a few episodes and then they just disappear in a puff of smoke. But there's
good marketing on their behalf, though. It's kind of like the show.
Yeah, it's like you don't know what's going to happen next. And I have to say that a bunch of the episodes of this new season, all of them have been top notch. And they've been definitely expanding what the show can do. And they've covered some really interesting topics I didn't expect. They've gone into some really dark places.
Darker than they already have. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
The second episode of the second half of this season, oh, yeah, it goes dark quick.
Wow. Darker than digging up my own corpse in my backyard. Wow.
Yeah. Not even a close second. Not really. But the thing about it is, it's also, in a sense, a bit of a redemption arc for Rick.
Okay.
That's how dark, when you do something that allows Rick to have a redemption arc, how dark do you think it had to be to get him there? Really, really, really dark.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. But it was, again, it was an amazing episode that followed, I think, one of the best episodes of Rick and Morty there, when they did the entire meta show, which was my favorite because, again, it was all about writers' tropes and what it's like to create a story, and it's all puns. So starting it out that way, it was going to be hard for them to really win me on another episode, because that one was just absolutely chef's kiss.
That's your top.
But then they do this one. And
blow it out of the water?
Well, it's going to be really hard to say that is there an episode that's going to be better than that one for me, the meta episode. But
with the puns.
With the puns. But, oh, yes, it was. I love that episode. I absolutely did. And, yeah, I could see where, in my head, it could be a fight for first place, because all the episodes have been unbelievable. They've gone some places that I wasn't expecting. They're really showing that this show can grow and develop and go into some interesting territory that it hasn't hit before, which, with it being a really messed up nihilistic show, you wouldn't think that would even be possible. But apparently they've got a lot more to say in the show, and I can't wait to see what that's going to be. But we got one more episode of that. Then we get into the Christmas season, and we're going to start seeing some Christmas movies. And then once we start dipping into 2023, I think you're just going to have to break out the tissues, because Marvel is about to make us cry, but I guess we'll find out.
We shall see.
And with that said, we come to the end of episode 174. Thank you for listening, and tune in next time for the latest in geek news and views with the Geek Watch podcast. For Mandy Petrie, this is Brian Hatcher, reminding all the Geek Watchers out there, we're all geeky about something. Be proud of yours. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Geek Watch podcast. If you enjoyed this program, don't forget to like and subscribe on your preferred platform, and share this podcast on your social media. For links to all the ways you can listen to the Geek Watch podcast, as well as leave comments and suggestions, visit our website at geekwatch.net. The Geek Watch podcast is a Hanging J production.